Indianapolis, Indiana, March 19. Paul George, 13, of the Indiana Pacers, dribbles the ball while defended by Russell Westbrook. 0 of the OKC Thunder at Bankers Life Fieldhouse on March 19, 2016 in Indianapolis, Indiana. Photo by Andy Lyons. Getty Images. As training camp nears, Paul George prepares to tip off with a different team for the first time in his career. Suiting up beside Russell Westbrook affords George another first. Westbrook represents the most talented teammate PG has ever had the pleasure to play alongside. Westbrook isn't just the most talented, but HES also the league's reigning most valuable player. As the franchise star in Indiana, George experienced plenty of highs. His Pacers repeatedly were the bridesmaid to LeBron James' Miami Heat. Beginning in the 201,112 season, Indiana lost in the Eastern Conference semifinals to the Heat. The following two seasons, 201,213 and 201,314, the Pacers pushed Miami to the brink in the Eastern Conference Finals. In the latter two series, the Pacers lost in 7 and 6 games respectively. But the key in those series was Paul George had no premier player to match his contribution. Sure, there was the season of Roy Hibbert and verticality, but opponents soon figured out a game plan to offset Hibbert. In subsequent seasons, Hibbert has regressed and is no longer considered a starting rotation player. To put in perspective how much of a leap playing with Westbrook will be, consider the starting rotations for the Pacers in those 3 seasons. Point guard George Hill, shooting guard Danny Granger, small forward Paul George, power forward David West, center Roy Hibbert. Pacers 201,213 and 201,314 starting rotation, same lineup with Lance Stevenson replacing Danny Granger at shooting guard. With all due respect to George Hill and David West, neither could be considered superstars. Hill is an extremely reliable floor general with solid defensive skill, and by the time West suited up for Indiana, his all-star days were behind him. Cut to present an aside from Westbrook. This iteration of the OKC Thunder offer arguably a far deeper talent pool than any of those successful Pacers teams. Steven Adams, Andre Roberson and Patrick Patterson are all extremely solid defenders, and although Roberson isn't necessarily going to light it up offensively, there are ample offensive options for Billy Donovan to utilize. Sure, the Thunder could use one more star. Every team other than the Warriors could. Still, this squad offers a major talent upgrade for Paul George, who, like Westbrook, was tasked with the majority of the workload in recent years. PG drops the MVP bomb. Paul George was in LA to represent the OKC Thunder from the Nike statement jersey reveal. In the interview, George dropped a bomb. George told Scott, "I'm going for it. Going for that hardware all along." PG has said what matters the most to him is winning a title. Yet this statement indicates the small forward plans on gunning for the MVP trophy. What George said specifically what George will bring to the Thunder, I think, establishing who we are. Russ and I are both guys who want the team's success and want the team to do extremely well. It's not on myself, it's not on Russ. As I told him, I'm here to come and help and give him a boost. How George plans to fit with Westbrook, it's hard to make a guy who averaged a triple-double better, but as long as I can help and contribute. In talking to Billy Donovan, he's been unbelievable in what he wants me to do, and I think our relationship has grown. Thoughts on season? I'm looking forward to this new journey and this new chapter. It's going to be a heck of a year. I'm excited to see what Oklahoma brings. Off-season work, it just seems every summer I add something new and learn something about myself. This summer I really wanted to attack the weight room and strengthen my body, strengthen my core. I think I can definitely say that was the next step to be able to sustain the wear and tear of the season. Asked about MVP race, I'm going for it. I'm going for the hardware. Every summer I learn something. This summer I definitely. What precisely should Thunder fans read into that statement? Initial reaction might have a few scratching their heads. George MVP bomb. A few OKC fans messaged me asking what this statement meant. Does it mean PG is more focused on personal accomplishments? To answer that question, in fairness, it's logical George would want to put up major numbers given his pending 2018 free agency status. On the other hand, these words could cast the impression George is approaching this season solely from his personal production. It could mean George plans on padding his stats in an effort to drive his salary up from next summer, but, for the Scribe's perspective, these words may well offer reason for optimism. Positive spin on George's statement. First of all, there is no way George's words can't have a positive spin. Let's reflect on why Kevin Durant supposedly left the Thunder. Copious Scribe said Westbrook wasn't capable of not playing hero ball. They opined Westbrook couldn't make his teammates better. Even in the recent Sports Illustrated, the crossover Top 100 listing, Westbrook's play style was referred to as martyr ball. Therefore, how can George's words not be rationalized to mean he believes Westbrook and his new team will bring out the best in him? Certainly sounds like George isn't concerned about the effect Westbrook will have on his game. Second, for George to say he's gunning for MVP, it means he expects to make a major impact with his new squad. It's fair to assume he and Westbrook have discussed his fit with the OKC roster. These words indicate Westbrook has been his typical self. By that, I mean, the leader will do whatever is necessary to get the best out of his teammates. Remember the infamous dinner with Nick Collison and Kevin Durant? It's well chronicled. Westbrook asked Durant during that dinner what more he could do to help KD, so it's fair to assume a similar conversation has already taken place between Westbrook and George. Next, the most obvious takeaway from this statement is Paul George's future. If George believes he can win MVP with the Thunder, doesn't it stands to reason he sees a future with them? And if George was successful in his MVP efforts, why on earth would he then leave OKC next summer? Rather, this points to a belief from George that he and Westbrook have the perfect cast to help them play to their utmost potential. Regardless of opinion, there is no denying Paul George is amped for this season to start. Dissecting everything he told Dennis Scott, the fact he's keen to win MVP from this Scribe's opinion speaks to his excitement about being in OKC. Further, his references to Russell Westbrook conversations on the team's plans speaks to the pair already developing a common goal. The most obvious takeaway rests with Russell Westbrook and his pending decision. Westbrook has until season start to sign his Supermax deal. To date, most analysts believe Westbrook and George are already a package deal. So, signing the deal won't just ensure the MVP's commitment, but also potentially point to his belief George also has a long-term future with the Thunder.